Hello, welcome to another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule for today's lecture. Now, here at Royal Black and Elite, we talk about the elite side of Black history, and today we are talking about the royalist of the royalist when it comes to the Nation of Islam, when it comes to civil rights, and the wife of this very, very important man. So often we hear about those civil rights leaders who led during the ugliest time in our history. Their wives dutifully have stood beside them, raised the children, and so today I want to introduce you to Dr. Betty Shabazz. She is the wife of the late Malcolm X. He is arguably the greatest civil rights leaders of our time. Now, Dr. Shabazz's life was absolutely heart-wrenching, and I can't wait to share it with you. My name is Lady TrenettWilson. I am your host today. I am a lecturer and a social historian. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, and please feel free to leave your comments down below. Hello, members. I want to thank my members and everybody for just coming along for our Royal Black and Elite History ride. So thank you so much. Now, Betty was born Betty Dean Sanders, and she was born in Pinehurst, Georgia on May the 28th, 1934 or 36. They never had her birth certificate. Maybe some of the reason is because she was born to a teenage mother. Her name was Ollie Mae Sanders. Her father, his name was Shelman Sandlin, and he was 21. So they weren't married, and even after the baby was born, they didn't stay together. So Ollie moved to Detroit. And unfortunately, allegedly, it was said that Ollie was beating Betty from a little bitty girl. So Betty had to go into foster care at 11 years old. Now, she went to the home of a family of a husband and wife, Lorenzo and Helen Malloy, and she was raised there. So thankfully, she stayed there until high school. And they stayed as a parental figure in her life, even up until adulthood. So she lived with them and she graduated from high school and went on to college at Tuskegee University. However, Alabama was not her cup of tea because it was extremely racist. I mean, when they were on the campus, it wasn't as bad. But if they left off the campus, they would experience it right away. So she was persuaded by one of her professors there to, go ahead and pursue nursing and leave this school. She was pursuing education. So she left education behind and she moved to New York in 1953. She went to nursing school at the Brooklyn State College School of Nursing. Now, though she did experience some discrimination, it was nothing like Alabama. What she called it was genteel prejudice. And this is when she came in connection with the Muslim faith. One of the ladies who worked with her, one of the nurses, invited her to dinner. So after she ate dinner, she heard the message, and her friend invited her to join the faith. But at the time, she was a Methodist, and she said, "No, I'm not interested." But she invited her back, and she said, "And this time, meet the minister. He is tall and handsome. I think you're going to like him." And that's how she and Malcolm X met. They dated for a while, and in terms of dating, they never went anywhere by themselves. They always had dates and group datings. They would go to places like libraries and museums. But they married on January the 14th, 1958. And after that, she promptly pushed out 6 girls. And the last 2 girls were twins. So they had a baby starting from 1958 all the way to 1965. Though the couple had been deeply committed to the faith for many years, on March 8th, 1964, so that was even before their twins were born, Malcolm announced that he and his family were leaving the faith and they were going to now be Sunni Muslims. Now, if you saw the movie, it was about the leader at the time who was allegedly getting girls pregnant. So that's the reason that they allegedly left. They were no longer Malcolm and Betty X. Their names were now Shabazz, unfortunately. only 1 year after leaving the ministry. Two assassins cut down Malcolm X on February the 21st, 1965. Well, three men were arrested altogether. They were all said to be from the nation. The nation has always said they did not do it, had nothing to do with it. The men, however, were found guilty and had to go to jail. But there are so many conspiracy theories around Brother Malcolm's passing. Unfortunately, what was left was Betty and her children. And then the trauma of seeing your husband, your father cut down in front of you like that. And then the men arrested looked just like you, though Malcolm had spent his whole entire life speaking against people, hurting people who looked like him. So the country really never has recovered all the way from Malcolm X's execution right in front of everyone. So what could she do? She had to pick up her life. She had six children. She now was a single mother. She said she mourned for her husband's death, however, for many years, seeing that over and over in her mind. But can you imagine how much prayer went into her being able to stay sane enough and present enough to still be able to raise her children and wonderful girls. All of them became, something very important, doctors and journalists and writers. So she did a beautiful job with the help of the Black community. Because let me tell you, Ruby Dee and Juanita Portier, who was Sidney Portier's first wife. They raised the money for Betty to purchase she and the girls a home in Mount Vernon, New York. Also, before his passing, Malcolm X had wrote an autobiography. So, because of that, the royalties from the book was able to sustain her life with the children. Now, Alex Haley had also co-wrote the book with him. So after he wrote the book Roots, the royalties that were coming to him, that was half the book, he gave them all over then to Dr. Shabazz. So she was at least had a little money in the bank to be able to take care of her children. But she didn't stop. She continued on with her education. He earned her master's degree from the University of Massachusetts Amherst in health administration. And then she gained her PhD in 1975. And in 1974, I forgot, by the way, she joined Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Inc. Beginning in 1976, she went on to teach in New York at Medgar Evers College, and she did that until her unfortunate passing. You see, in 1997, one of her grandsons was living with her. One of her daughters was accused of plotting to unalive Farrakhan because it was believed that he had something to do with her father's passing. Of course, Farrakhan denied it, the daughter denied it, but her son had to go and live with Dr. Shabazz. Now, he was 10 years old at the time. His name was Malcolm. And I don't know if he was playing with fire or I don't know what happened, but he set the home on fire. And Dr. Shabazz was unalived in that fire because of the burns. She was burned over 80% of her body, and she went through 5 surgeries, but she passed on June the 23rd, 1997, at either 61 or 62. Again, they don't know how exactly old she was. Malcolm was very remorseful. He did have to go stay at a juvenile center. And in shock, on May the 9th, 2013, he was unalived in Mexico, beaten over some tab at a bar. So just unfortunate passing after passing, such a sad life. But what a testament to a woman who lived a life after such a horrendous passing of her husband, raising her children, educated, and giving her life to community. Now, one of the twins, Malika, also passed at 56. It's still some mystery around her passing. Rumors are that she was poisoned. Some say of natural causes, so we still don't know about that. Betty was laid to rest next to her husband, who was renamed El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, and they are buried at Ferncliff Cemetery in Hartsdale, New York. So, what did you think about this story? I mean, Dr. Shabazz, she has schools named after her, and she has so much respect on her name because of what she was able to do after the unfortunate passing of Malcolm X. I hope that I can't even say enjoyed today's lesson, but hopefully you learned a lot about Dr. Shabazz and the life after the passing of Malcolm X. The wonderful job she did educating herself, raising her children, and staying and being a part of the community. We thank her for her commitment and sacrifice to the cause of civil rights. And that's what Royal Black and Elite is all about. Introducing you to people that you may have heard of, but don't really know a whole lot about. Please leave your comments down below. What did you think about Malcolm X? What did you think about today's session on Dr. Shabazz? Did you know about her life, her education, and even about her unfortunate passing? I thank you for joining me for another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. I'll see you, and be sure to click down on some of our other great videos. There's so much there for you to learn. Thanks for watching.